don't see many wild stallions anymore.
His name was Wayne McLaren. In 1976, he starred in a Marlboro ad, becoming the most iconic cowboy of the Wild West. But 24 years later, after being diagnosed with lung cancer, his brother Charles McLaren appeared in a very different kind of commercial. In those 2 decades, however, Wayne's image had already hooked millions of people on cigarettes. 1985, the world was drowning in smoke. Humanity lit up a record-breaking 6 trillion cigarettes. That's nearly 3.5 cigarettes per person every single day. Cigarettes were everywhere. In movies, on the streets, in offices. Everyone smoked, from doctors and soldiers to ministers and presidents. The result? By the end of the 20th century, tobacco would kill 100 million people, the same number as all the wars of that century combined. But it wasn't always this way. Before the 19th century, tobacco was rare and hard to produce. It was a luxury of the aristocracy, noble, refined, even healing. Some doctors even prescribed it as medicine. But with the rise of industry, everything changed. Tobacco became mass-produced and fatally normal. In 1880, American inventor James Bonsack patented the first cigarette rolling machine. It replaced the manual labor of 48 workers. Now, one person could produce not 200, but 120,000 cigarettes a day. Production became cheap, which meant cigarettes became available to everyone. And with that, dangerously routine. But soon after cigarettes came one of the deadliest diseases known to humanity: lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
Lung cancer.
It's time for a health quiz. What form of cancer causes the most deaths among women? If you said breast cancer, you're wrong. It's lung cancer.
Before cigarettes became widespread, lung cancer was so rare it wasn't even mentioned in medical textbooks. Doctors attributed the few known cases to heredity or air pollution. Today, over 2.2 million new cases of the disease are diagnosed worldwide each year, and the death toll reaches nearly 2 million. Almost everyone who faces the diagnosis also faces a harsh reality. The 5-year survival rate is under 20%, and if the disease is detected late, barely 5%. Meanwhile, in the early 20th century, when medicine still didn't understand the real cause of the illness, cigarettes were only gaining ground in society, especially with the start of World War I. Cigarette manufacturers sent tobacco to the front lines for free, under the guise of supporting the soldiers. Eric Maria Remarque wrote, in All Quiet on the Western Front,
"War is a constant shortage of everything, except tobacco and gunpowder."
And American General John Pershing famously said,
"To win the war, tobacco is as necessary as bullets."
in reality, the tobacco companies cared about one thing: hooking as many soldiers as possible during the war, because once peace came, they'd have millions of new lifelong customers. Right after World War I, cigarette companies launched aggressive marketing across every sphere of life. In the military, soldiers were given up to 10 cigarettes a day. Actors signed massive contracts to feature the right brands in films. And corrupt doctors recommended cigarettes for sore throats.
Give your throat a vacation. Smoke a fresh cigarette.
Your throat protection against irritation, against cough.
This kind of advertising sounds absurd today, but back then, it shaped the behavior of entire generations. Surprisingly, the first large-scale anti-smoking propaganda appeared under fascist regimes. In Nazi Germany, smoking was seen as a weakness. The propaganda emphasized Adolf Hitler didn't smoke. Neither did Mussolini or Franco. But Germany's enemies, Stalin, Churchill, Roosevelt, smoked like chimneys.
Tobacco is the red man's revenge on the white man.
But all this rhetoric failed, especially once another war began. During World War II, tobacco companies once again supported the front lines, this time on an even greater scale. After the war, the number of smokers doubled, from 30 to 70% among men and from 10 to 30% among women. Naturally, profits soared. By the 1950s, tobacco taxes alone were bringing the U.S. government around $2 billion annually, equivalent to over $9.5 billion today. And the actual revenues of the tobacco corporations were even higher. Meanwhile, medicine was also making progress. In the early 1950s, researchers began publishing the first studies linking smoking to fatal diseases. But instead of acknowledging the problem, tobacco giants offered a solution: filtered cigarettes, marketed as a safer alternative. But there was a problem. The new product was seen as something for women, not for real men. Sales began to plummet. That's when Leo Burnett, one of America's top advertising minds, stepped in. In 1954, he launched a brilliant campaign. Enter the Marlboro Man, rugged, free, independent. A real man smokes Marlboro. It changed everything. Filtered cigarettes became rugged and masculine. From just 1% of the market, Marlboro shot to the top. Within a few years, it accounted for a third of all cigarette sales in the U.S. But in 1964, the first official report was released in which the U.S. publicly acknowledged smoking causes lung cancer. Cigarette ads were banned from television. Warning labels appeared on the packs. But against the image of the cowboy, doctors' warnings and printed labels were powerless, until the moment the cowboys themselves started to die. David Miller Jr., the first Marlboro cowboy, died of emphysema in 1987. David McLean, lung cancer, died in 1995. Wayne McLaren, the most iconic Marlboro rider, was also diagnosed with lung cancer. He wasn't as lucky. He didn't make it to 52. Each actor ended up suing the tobacco companies, accusing them of manipulation and lies about the safety of their products. By the late 90s, America demanded answers. How many more cowboys have to die? Under pressure from lawsuits, fines, and public outrage, the tobacco giants surrendered. The cowboys rode off into the sunset, along with millions of empty packs and lungs. But the image of the real man never truly left. Stallone, Arnold, Jack Nicholson, the leading action heroes were not chosen by accident. Declassified company documents revealed, our main target is teenagers. At 14, they're not yet fully formed customers. Today, they're kids. Tomorrow, consumers. Teenagers watched movie heroes with cigarettes and thought, smoking is cool. With the rise of the internet, tobacco's influence on kids only grew stronger. Bloggers, artists, musicians, the new cowboys of a new era, took the stage. But now they were promoting not just cigarettes, but the innovations of tobacco giants. Marketing in disguise worked once again. Today, the average age of someone trying nicotine for the first time is just 13.
The smoking boy needn't worry about his future. He doesn't have one.
In 1995, nicotine was officially recognized as the most powerful psychological addiction, stronger than cocaine and heroin. Relapse rates reached their peak, with 95%, the highest among all drugs. Nicotine has been officially declared a time bomb, silently destroying the body from within. Nicotine is a poison naturally produced by the tobacco plant to ward off insect pests. In insects, it disrupts nerve signals, causing seizures and paralysis. In humans, it damages the heart, lungs, and brain. It triggers a release of dopamine, the pleasure hormone, and over time, the brain stops producing it on its own. This leads to addiction, and without the next dose, the person feels apathy, anger, and irritability. In the 20th century alone, nicotine claimed around 100 million lives, more than all wars of that century combined. Today, it kills up to 8 million people every year, which is 15 times more than all hard drugs combined, including heroin and cocaine. And what about the scary pictures on cigarette packs? The risk of developing lung cancer for a smoker is estimated at 30%. But it's not just the lungs. The mouth, esophagus, kidneys, and other organs are also under attack. As a result, the overall chance of developing cancer from long-term smoking reaches up to 50%. Without questioning it too deeply and dismissing illness as just a myth, a person empties their wallet day after day, afraid they can't last even a few hours without nicotine, willingly paying for a death that's slowly approaching.